So, uh, I was just thinking about my uncle. Rest in love to my Uncle Bug from McGee, Arkansas. Man, my uncle used to always take care of my aunts. He was always defending them and taking up for them, literally, like fighting some of their men and everything. Like, he was always around, man. And sometimes, Uncle Bug would get full, like full, boy, but hey, he could still hold it. You know what I mean? I just remember certain times, seeing him come over there when my auntie stayed off of Main Street in a little blue house on the corner. When my mom stayed right behind her in the alley in the little shotgun house that got burnt down. Man, there was so many memories, man, of Uncle Bug being around and protecting the family and showing, out of all of, I can be honest, out of all of my granddaddy's siblings, you know, I didn't know a lot of them like, like know them. I knew, I knew two of my aunts. I knew of his sisters that I knew a lot, and I knew Uncle Bug. Them was the ones that I knew a lot. Like I seen a lot. You know what I mean? My auntie, two of my aunties and my uncle. So I seen them a lot, and then some of their kids. But Bug was special, man. And I was just thinking about him today because he told me a story, fam. Right before he had passed. I didn't know he was sick or nothing. He was still, I could tell he had got a little small, but he was still doing good though. And seen him walking, I picked him up, and we were just chopping it up. And man, Bug told me a story, fam. It was so funny, like I was rolling. And today, I was just reflecting on it. And over the last, few weeks, few months, I was thinking about some things, and now I understand, what my uncle was saying. It was funny, but I understand the practical meaning behind what he was telling me. So he was explaining to me that it was some lady that he was wanting to talk to, man, and he was attracted to her. He was like, man, little Joe, boy, every time I see her, fam, I just be wanting to get her, you know what I'm saying? He said, I never had the opportunity. He said, I be trying, so evidently whoever she was, Bug liked her. And Bug said one time, he finally got the opportunity, to get around her, and he said he was all excited and everything, and he messed around, fam, and seen how she was living. Uncle Bug had me rolling. Uncle Bug said, man, when I seen how she was living and her condition, he said, man, he said, Lil Joe, I couldn't do it. I said, what? He said, Lil Joe, I couldn't do it. He said, man, I felt so bad, man, for her condition that the little change I had in my pocket, I just gave it to her. I said, honey, you can have it, man. And he said, man, I just, walked on, talked to her for a minute and just walked on off. He said, I couldn't do it. And I was like, boy, why you couldn't do it? He said, man, regardless of how bad I liked somebody, I couldn't see myself being with them if I know they was doing worse than me. That's hard right there, fam. Uncle Bug said she was struggling so much she couldn't even see herself being with her. He was like, I ain't know it was like that. You know what I mean? And as a man, I felt some type of way. And I was like, damn, I get it. Sometimes, fam, in life, the eyes will want things. We see things. You know what they say. It's even in the word. The eyes are like a burning fire. You'll want. But a lot of times you'll see things and things that you think that is healthy for you or good for you. It's not. You know what I mean? Some people, and once you encounter the situation, that's when you are faced with who you are as a person, as an individual. Some people probably would have dived over anyway. But if you have a heart, I don't know what happened to my camera. But if you have a heart though, certain things you ain't gonna be able to do, fam. You ain't gonna be able to do people a certain way, you know what I mean? And I was thinking about something this morning. Someone asked me, said, man, give me some jewels I can use, coach. And I was just thinking, I said, you know what? I give you some. I said, you want to know how you can tell if a person is good or evil? Because there's only two, You know what they say, God and the devil or whatever. There's only two, good and evil. You know how you can tell the difference? A person that is truly, truly good will warn you if you're coming or approaching up on something that you don't know nothing about and they have already experienced. They're going to at least say, hey, I would be safe over there. It's something over there. You might fall off that edge over there. They at least going to say something to you. They're not just going to let you just walk off there blindly and just fall off the edge. Now, the person who's evil, they'll look over there and watch you the whole time. Play some bets, ready to make some money on you. So when you fall off, they can capitalize off your demise. So you have to be cautious on who you deal with and who you have in your life. You know what I mean? And we grown now, man. You know, we have to be realistic and know, hey, who are we dealing with? It ain't got nothing to do with the color, fam. It's all about the spirit. All gone.